At the time of opening this document, it is 5:39 a.m. on January the 11th, 2021. The sun is coming up, and I have not slept. Instead, I spent my night far too hot, it's supposed to be 37 degrees Celsius today, and also trying desperately not to scratch at my face. When the warm, dry weather of Australian summer hits, my skin goes incredibly dry and unbelievably itchy. If I'm not careful, I can literally tear weeping holes in the flesh on my face. Currently, I'm trying to distract myself. It's not made easy for me. Every hair that touches my face overstimulates me and reminds me of the itch. My keyboard is too loud, the light in my room is too glaring, and my eyelids are so heavy. This rash has been with me for 3 years now, every summer. Disco Elysium begins with your character waking up to the world again after bludgeoning himself into oblivion with alcohol the previous night. It becomes obvious quite quickly that our protagonist has lost his memory. He doesn't know his name, he has no idea he's a cop, he doesn't know what city he's in, and he doesn't know that there's a dead body hanging in a tree out back that he's supposed to be investigating. There's a sense of great tragedy in all this, though, because we see immediately just how much Harry truly hates himself, and yet that's the only memory that's persisted. Self-hatred. A cruel joke. It's now light outside my window. I've pushed my hair backwards in a sweep, kept in place by my headphones. I'm just now realizing that I've got them plugged into my mic, which is running. For some reason it's grounding rather than overstimulating to hear everything clearer through the sensitive condenser mic. I really need grounding right now, lest I get swept up in my torrent of unhelpful thoughts like one of my hairs now swept under my headphones. You see, like Harry, I hate myself. I'm constantly reminded of every shitty thing I've ever done, and I'm aware of how absurd it is. I know that no one remembers or cares except me, but I can't shake this fundamental belief that I'm an awful, awful person. Last night was really bad for me. It's not good for me to stay awake without distractions for so long. My mind wanders. I push some more hair under my headphones. The itch on my face forces itself back to my consciousness. It's always on the edge of my perception. After dragging himself out of his abyss of forgetting, Harry must face the city of Revachol. But the ugly and scarred face of the city has a way of reminding Harry of every way he is deficient, every reason he has to hate himself. There's a moment where you go into the pawn shop looking for clues, when you realize the shop owner seems to recognize you. Turns out, you pawned your gun off to him a few days prior, so that you wouldn't kill yourself. Your partner Kim hides his concern behind professionalism, but you can tell he's uncomfortable and empathetic. This information is later turned as a weapon against you. Harry had forgotten pawning off the gun, but Revachol remembers. Everard Clare, the corrupt leader of the Union, forces you into doing his bidding by taunting you with information on the lost gun. Harry is racked with guilt that his stupidity in selling a police gun might get someone hurt. And while this is the supertext, the subtext is that it's a reminder of his battle with self-harm. He had forgotten the painful memories, and now Revachol was forcing them back up to the surface. Revachol remembers, just as it remembers its old kings who slept on gold, just as it remembers the bullet holes of revolution. This is the great fear for those of us who hate ourselves. Most of us, logically, understand that nobody remembers our past mistakes, but we live in fear that the world will one day judge us for our past actions. We fear a judgment day. That's what I find so paralyzing about this game. Revachol remembers, and in Revachol I see a world all too familiar. I'm scared this world will remember me for my sins. It's 1:15 p.m. now. I'm not feeling very tired, surprisingly, and my rash isn't bothering me much. My hair hangs freely against my forehead. I have work in a few hours and I'm not too fussed about it. But I know that the rash will return. If not tonight, then tomorrow. And if not tomorrow, next summer. The rash brings pain, and to scratch at it brings yet more pain. But euphoria with it. Self-hatred may come tonight, and if not tonight, tomorrow night. And if not tomorrow night, sometime in the near future. It always returns. And if I pick at it, it only itches more. It takes so much effort not to tear into myself, to tear apart my psyche as I tear apart my flesh. This is what self-hatred is, a rash that you cannot help but itch and tear at. You constantly hope for it to die down, and sometimes it does, but you're always a few scratches away. One bar of soap too irritating, one day in too much direct sun. Then the rash returns. It's 1:24 now, and I've decided. I'm going to make sure that Harry does something he can be proud of. I'm going to make sure he fixes something in his life. I know as well as he does that his past is immutable. It will echo in his mind forever, constantly threatening to devour him. I know from personal experience that no matter how many good things you do, the fundamental belief that you are a piece of shit never leaves. But you know what? It helps to have some kind of goal. Literally anything to say, look here, brain. Here I am improving. Here I am a better person today than I was yesterday. I no longer care if Harry solves this case. All I care is that Harry finds something to care about. A reason to better himself, and the capability to do so. A yardstick by which to measure becoming a better person.